And you know what? I think, and ultimately, a media giant anime has to be out today in some sort of way. But I'm excited to welcome to the program Nicholas Friedman. Nicholas Friedman is a well-known podcaster in the anime world. Nicholas, thanks for stopping by. Let's talk podcasting first. Then we're going to talk about how are you going to help me create my own media giant anime. But how did this start the podcast, and how did you become a podcaster?
Yeah, I'd been podcasting for a few years just on the side with some friends, and I've always had a love for the craft. I've been a fan of shows myself, and the opportunity arose with Crunchyroll and our partners at Sony Music to build a show all about anime, right? And taking some of what we've seen from the other thing that I manage at Crunchyroll, Crunchyroll News, and bring that to audio and video. And so we created the Anime Effect, a place that showcases the crossover between anime and pop culture, whether it's music, gaming, sports, movies, and we bring it to you.
So, what do you think that industry's worth, the anime industry, especially in the United States?
Do you mean like worth?
Yeah,
I,
that more like of
I,
industry of money made. Let's think of the gaming
sure.
industry, how gigantic it is. And people, it's still
Yeah.
not even really hit pop culture gaming to the level it should. Just in ways, but not in a way like everything is a niche now, right? Once everyone gets to that niche, they just jump on it and they stick to their own community.
Yeah, I think the thing that's amazing about anime is just how global it is, right? You can go to any country in the world and you will find an anime community that is talking about these shows that everybody's talking about. And so I think that's important to remember when you think about the anime community is it's everywhere, right? It may be niche to someone, but it's mainstream to someone else. And I think it's really cool that it can scale like that.
All right, absolutely. It's a very valuable industry, anime, and definitely look into it. Now, when you think about specifically enough last year to this year in anime, because I had Alec on last year. Where do you see it now compared to last year?
It just anime continues to offer these things that only anime can. And I think with every year that goes by, we see more original storytelling, more creative storytelling that comes out of the world of anime. And that's the thing is there's just more of it. And as an anime fan myself, it's amazing to have so much to look forward to all the time.
Oh, and absolutely. Now, if I wanted to create my own media giant anime, like they're doing for different pro wrestlers and different things, I'm a former professional wrestler myself, but how would you go about doing that?
Yeah, the first thing to do with any journey into anime is just watching anime, right? Find the shows that can mean something to you. And I always tell people, because people always ask me, they're like, what's one anime series you should start with? And for me, it's I have to know what you're interested in before I give you that answer. Because there isn't a one size fits all. There might be a few. But, are you a romance fan? Are you an action fan? Are you a horror fan? And then from there, it's okay, I can work with this. I can give you 10 shows that you could start with, and by the end of it, you're in and then you start to explore the other parts of it. So that's where I would start.
That's wild. Absolutely wild because you're thinking, what interests me and what draws you so much to anime?
I mean, I touched on it before. For me, it's that unique sense of storytelling that you can only get from the world of anime, right? One of the anime stories that means the most to me is it's a story called Your Name, and it's from visionary director, iconic creator in Japan, Makoto Shinkai. And it is this, I can only describe it as like a sci-fi love story that's told through the lens of like real life tragedy. And when you watch it, it's one of those things where it's hard to describe, but when you see it and you get to those credits, you look at it and you're like, that is a wholly unique experience. The story hasn't been told before. I don't know if it can ever be told in a different way again, but I'm so happy that it exists.
Who
And to
are
me,
the
that
big,
is the power of anime.
absolutely. Who are the biggest pop culture fans of anime? Who would you say?
Oh my gosh. Depends on what category you're looking in, right? Gaming, sports, music.
Yeah.
We've had a number of amazing guests on the show. In the world of hip hop, for example, we've had Denzel Curry, like rapper Denzel Curry. He's amazing. If you look in film, right? David Dastmalchian, who you've seen in like
Oh, yeah.
Newcomer and late
Yeah,
night
I've had him
TV,
on my
right?
show. Yeah.
Yeah, we even had one of my favorite interviews that we've done on the show is Jamaal Williams from the New Orleans Saints, like just talking about his love for anime and showing us his hairless cats that are the cutest things in the world, right? Just finding these people who have these larger than life roles in culture and they love anime just like we do.
And it's crazy the WWE, like how they're using it on, like we're talking about last year. And I'm hoping you get a WWE guest at one point on, right? To
Well,
talk about the.
we had Zelina Vega on 2 months ago. Yeah, and I'm sure you had a ball with Lee Alec because Lee Alec is a massive wrestling fan. But even like wrestling, right? Like I could point to a number of wrestling anime, right? You can look at something like Baki or Kinnikuman or gosh, even like things like boxing, Megalobox, Tomorrow's Joe. Like there's so much. There's always a layer to it, right? There's always an anime layer to it.
Okay, so what I am again just taught, I guess the most anime I'm talked about is last year's podcast and this year's. Now I have to take an action to watch anime. What's the best place I could do? Should I do first?
All right, so you got to go to Crunchyroll. You got to sign up. You got to jump into the catalog, right? And then I think, like I said, you pick your genre, right? So if we're just looking at wrestling, honestly, I think starting with it's adjacent, but a show called Megalobox, which is have you ever seen the movie Real Steel with Hugh
No, no,
Jackman? Okay,
no.
anyway, it's this boxing movie where they use like robots.
Oh, okay.
This is if the person was the robot, and it tells this really cool story about this underdog that like retakes his title. And yeah, even just based on talking to you now, I think you'd really dig it.
So what is your hope for your podcast in general and where the podcasts are going to go on? What is your hope?
Yeah, my hope is that for fans specifically, whether they're people who are diehard anime fans or they just want to learn more about it, that this is like the place for them to dive deeper, right? That is at the core of our show. The other piece is I want the celebrities or musicians or artists who are out there who can sometimes find it hard to express their love for anime in their spaces all the time. Let the anime effect be a place where you can do that. And we've seen that with professional athletes where they're like, I love doing this interview because I don't have to talk about my job now. I can talk about anime. And that's what we want to accomplish.
Go into that interest, go into figuring out, dive deeper into people's lives, which I do in interviews. I really
Yep.
don't like to promote. When I talk about things, I want to really make it a connection to my audience, a connection
Yeah.
to what makes me connected in my podcast interviews. I do sometimes ask some with celebrities some questions they've been asked 1,000 times, but I really dive deep into some fun stuff, challenging them to a match or doing certain things because that's what people want. They don't want to listen to the same old because all they have to do is just tune in somewhere else to do that. So
Yep.
best place to go again to listen to the podcast is where?
You can find the Anime Effect podcast on all audio platforms, so Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you might find a podcast. We've also got our video show that you can find on Crunchyroll itself. So if you're already on Crunchyroll, you can see it there as well as Crunchyroll's YouTube.
Appreciate it, Nicholas. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks so
All
much,
right,
David.
you're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.